Okay, and David Salomon here. Thanks for joining me from Simply Splendid Productions. And I've been doing some experimenting with live streaming. And yesterday I went live for a time and found that the stream dropped out at about the 20-minute mark. And I thought, well, I'm going to come back and see if I have a repeat of the problem and show you how I'm determining if there might be a problem here. I'm using MimoLive as my video switcher in software, and I've got it so that you can see the back end here and take a look at what's going on. So I'm going to switch that over now so that you can see that. I've got a screen share here, and it's going to show us some of that details of the live streaming. So this is in MimoLive, as I mentioned, and the back end, and I'm streaming H.264 1920 by 1080 at 6,000 kilobits per second and AAC at 128 kilobits per second. So first of all, you notice that the rate is higher than usual. Normally, if you're going up to Facebook Live or something like that, you'll probably only be going at 2,500 kilobits per second, and maybe your audio bit rate is something like 64 or something like that. So we're looking at a high fidelity here in audio, and the video is certainly medium to good. Now, in some situations we might try to send it up at about 9 megabits per second. That's half as much again, but this is already twice the bit rate that you would normally be sending up at a basic level. So we should be getting a pretty good picture coming through here. And let's just have a look what's happening. Can I increase the size of this? I don't think I can, I'm sorry. But you'll see here 6 megabits per second is the adjusted data rate. The actual rate is variable here, and it changes from around 5.85 through to 6.15 is the highest I've seen it, 6.33. So we're going along pretty well. We've got a good internet connection. I'm not using Wi-Fi. I try to avoid Wi-Fi when I'm streaming, simply because it has too many unpredictable things going on with interference or poor signal, what have you. So wire is always better, going straight into my modem. And we've got NBN at about 48 megabits per second and down, and at about 18 up. So we're using about half our available bandwidth, a third of our available bandwidth to push the stream out. And so we've got plenty of headroom there for things to go wrong. And you'll see here that we are encoding from hardware, and that is because I've got a Mac Mini, 2018 Mac Mini, running MimoLive, and it has a hardware encoder. That was one of the things that I made sure of before buying that computer. I had a 2012, I still use it, 2012 MacBook Pro, which was a fairly high spec at the time. What I found though was that it didn't have the hardware encoders, and so the fans came on pretty soon after you started to push out some live video, particularly when you're bringing in a camera or two. So in this situation I've got one camera coming in. Next week I'm going to be trying it with more than that. Is it? Well, actually probably not. I'll have more cameras, but I'm going to connect them through ATEM Mini Pro, and so that comes into the Mac as a webcam, and all the switching is done by hardware outside. So I'm really not going to have any greater load than what I do now. So that's actually the plan, and I'll be interested to see whether the old 8-year-old MacBook Pro will handle that feed from a Mac, from an ATEM Pro. ATEM Mini Pro is what it's called. So this has just been running here, and that's pretty consistent. The actual output is around about the 6 megabits per second. It's dropped no frames. The stream status upload is normal at, again, around 6 megabits a second, and it's sent 280 megabits of data in the 6 minutes so far. So average upload, okay, I didn't notice this speed before. Average upload is 6.15 megabits per second, and I've had no reconnects. Now you'll notice this band here of light grey. Yes, there we are, the light grey. That was a little bit rough to start with. It's actually smoothed out quite a lot, and we're not using any local buffer at all. So that tells me, assuming this was the way it was running yesterday, I didn't check yesterday, but assuming this is the way it was running yesterday, there's not a problem here. The MimoLive is handling this very well. The Mac is handling MimoLive. We've got plenty of bandwidth going up, and yeah, it's hard to see what the problem might be. Let's just open our YouTube dashboard and take a look there. Are we going to be able to access it? Let's see. No, there's something funny going on there. Do I need to click in it? That's better. Now, there's an open dashboard built into MimoLive, and you click that button and it opens up the browser at Google, and you will have just heard a message come in, and that will be saying, let me see if I can hit confirm whether it's you trying to sign in. Yes. Now I just set this up this morning for a 2-step verification, and so for that reason I've got quite a bit of stuff going on for that. Not quite sure even what what all the different windows are about private browsing and so on. But I was asked to open that a second time to give control to MimoLive. That's what that was about, and I don't want to use any accounts with this, or maybe the Google Mail might be the only one. I've just opened a new. Let me check that there's nothing here I don't want to share. So that tells me that our stream is not set up properly. That's a mystery. Let me just quickly go over to there we go. Quickly go over to Google Chrome, or it'll be it won't be Chrome, it'll be Safari in this case, and let me go to YouTube. Let me sign into the account. It's already signed in from before. Let me go to Creator Studio or YouTube Studio. Have a look at the videos and see what we've got going live. Now, that looks like it's the wrong account actually. Switch accounts. And let's go to Simply Splendid Productions. Says my account is at greater risk because you don't have two-step valid verification. That's confusing because I set that up this morning. Let's have a look at our videos and our live ones. And yes, it says we're live here. So oddly, there's a discrepancy between the window that's opening with MimoLive and the one that's opening through YouTube. So that's got me confused. Let me just go back and check that everything is still going well. We've still got actual output is actually a little bit higher than it was before. No drop frames, hardware encoding. We've got nearly half a gig sent, and our average upload is about the same. This upload speed seems to be a little bit more variable than it was earlier on, but we're still not requiring any local buffer. So I do not understand why I'm not able to see the actual video. Well, here it is. I can see it now. I'll turn that audio right down. Hopefully there is audio coming through. I don't think, yes there is. And that's going pretty well. So we've been running now for 14 minutes, just about. Still no sign of any issues. I'll take it up to the for another 5 minutes to check about another 6 minutes. It started streaming 13 minutes ago, it said. So the upload is running about a minute behind. There's about a minute's lag between uploading and it appearing on YouTube. So that's interesting. Everything else is going very well. We've got no problems here. The Mac Mini is got no fans running, or very, very quietly if they are. So there's no particular load being put on it. I might just say write something in the comments here. Is a test of the the bandwidth in MimoLive, and let's send that. Let's see if that comes up. Well, obviously it's going to take a minute. Oh, it came up straight away. How about that? That was a surprise. Wasn't expecting that. So while we're waiting, we're just sort of waiting for that 20-minute mark to come up really, let's have a look at the what do you call it, comments function. So I'll bring up that that window from before. Here it is. Okay, now I want to change the area that we're looking at. I want to have a look at here. Okay, so that's not updating for some reason. There we go. Just need to move the window a little. So what I've got on the screen here in this larger screen is my interface. I'm just screen sharing it from a shared window, and this is what I see behind the scenes. You will have seen me a few minutes ago or a minute ago putting up this comment. I had the browser window open, so I was able to do that, and I have all the comments are retrieved from the YouTube comment stream and put in this list here. And I can favourite them by clicking on this star, and let me just put in another couple of comments. Here's a second comment as an example. I thought it was going to take a long time to come up here, but it actually, that last one appeared very, very quickly. And let me do one more. And in fact, the comments came up far quicker than the video. Now, I don't quite understand that. It means that the comments feed is closer to real time than is the video. Something good to be aware of that. Okay, so the first comment here. So as you see, the comments are listed in reverse order. So the most recent comments here are at the top. That is the opposite to what happens in the actual live feed. Now you will see that we can favourite them by giving them a star, and when I give one a star and I favourite one, let me just readjust this a little, I can then choose one to go live with, and here's what happens. It puts it up the top of my screen so I can see which one is being shown, and the comment itself is then placed as a lower third on the screen. Pretty nifty, eh? When I can pin that one on there, what does that do? I'm not sure. Make that unlive. Choose another one. There we go. Choose another one. So this way it's very easy just to follow comments as they come in on the YouTube stream, and easy to see them and respond to them. Okay, now This is interesting. I've just, let's have a look here. Something has happened to our bit rate. It's been throttled somewhere and it's dropped down to 3.5 megabits per second. I wasn't expecting to see that. Our average overall has dropped to 4.8 megabits a second, and that is a mystery. I didn't catch it exactly when it came on. So what I need to check is whether YouTube is throttling back my feed. That's possible. It's now hovering around 4 megabits a second. Now I'm going to just test something else here. Let me bring up my browser window. Sorry, it's all getting a little bit messy here. I'll just relieve you of that if I can. Here we go. And there we go. So let's turn that one off. We're done there. Well, before I leave the comments, there's also a button here, favourites only. And what that does is actually, as you read them, you might want to make a check to see which ones you actually want to respond to. Okay, I'm getting a warning here now. This output destination has performance issues, it says. We've got an adjusted data rate of 3.4 megabits a second, an adjusted data rate due to low internet bandwidth. Please reduce frame rate and or frame size. We've just sent over a gigabyte. So as far as I know, there's nothing going on in the back of in the computer. As far as I know, that would be hogging bandwidth. So here, let me show you these again, and you will see there that I had a big call on the buffer just a minute ago, and now it's settling back down. That buffer's just about all fed out, and this is rising again. So there was something definitely interfering. It was not accidental. I'm going to close out the comments. I'm going to open another browser window, and I'm going to go to just check what my rate is. At speedtest.net. Here we go. I'll share that with you. This is just the standard speedtest.net web interface, and I just click the go button to see what the results are. Okay. Well, this is normal for me. A ping of about 2 or 3, and then a download speed of about 47 to 48 usually, and then an upload of usually around 17, 18. So you will notice that that has hogged our bandwidth and made a big difference to our performance here. In fact, it loaded most of that into a cache, dropped the adjusted rate down to 800 kilobits per second, which is about as low as it would go. hard to work out what's going on. So I'm going to leave it there for now. We've established that there is something actually causing a major problem. And next thing I will do will be to try it again. And next time I run a live feed, I'll be looking at the usage, the activity that's happening on my computer. So it's not to do with capacity of either the computer. There's plenty of memory, there's plenty of hardware to do what it's doing. You'll see this is on the rise again here now. It's up to 1.5. Still critical, but not as bad as it was before. I imagine that picture was getting fairly soft. So I'm going to use the activity monitor next time. In fact, I might just turn it on quickly here now, if I can find it. Activity monitor. And let me share that with you. Right. I don't know what the VTE encoder XPC service is. MimoLive is using about 90% of CPU. It's dropping a little bit now. So is MimoLive doing something? I don't know. Everything else looks all right. MimoLive is definitely high at 90%. 90% of CPU. Memory. We've got plenty of memory. We're looking at, we've got 11 gig use, so something's going somewhere. Energy. So MimoLive is using a lot of power. And the disk. So it may be, is a thought, I don't know, it may be that because I'm streaming at a higher rate, we're also recording at a higher rate. That's a possibility. Let me just check that. By looking at the stats here on the file recording, we've dropped 2 frames. We've got a file size of 22 gigabits, running for about half an hour. Plenty of space available. So nothing's going critical there. And I think that's probably about what I normally record to. That's recording Apple ProRes file of 422, so that's pretty. There's no really big encoding to go there. It's what I usually use. Takes a lot of space, but it's a lot less taxing on the computer. So so there you have it. I'll just bring this back here before we sign off. There we go. Now we're back up to 3.7. It's been gradually climbing after that episode, the one before I did the speed test, and this definitely is saying that the output destination has performance issues. That's YouTube, has performance issues. So I'm sending up 1080p at 6 gigabits a second. I'll have to look into that. Thanks for joining me. Drop a comment below if you've got any questions or an interest in this performance, and look forward to seeing you next time.